depends how much you work it. Real racing's been pretty consistent for us for a while now. I think it would have had a 2-month life cycle, except that we kept working it with updates and Real Racing GTI, the light version, and the others. So I think you should know your degree of your product's success by 2 to 3 months. Maybe if I'm looking forward, I usually plan for about a 2-month half-life. So that's like half your sales are gone. Even 1.5 months maybe of half-life. But that's for big marketed product that sort of gets a push up there and then drops down. But most products, if it's not in the top 100, it's not exposed, won't be selling much at all anyway. So I think you are looking at that sort of period.
I was just wondering if the free version of Real Racing boosted your sales for the paid version?
Whether it increased sales? Yeah, it did. Significantly for the period when it was high in the charts. We also dropped the price about a week after Real Racing GTI was released as well to try and stoke that further, since we felt there was a wider audience now exposed to the game. So yeah, it was good. Yeah, it increased what we were able to offer in fee-for-service because of, well, not the excessive flight control. It's more the fact that we're publishing that has increased our fee-for-service value, because we can fill in contingency more effectively, so we can outcompete pure work for hires. But yeah, flight control only when it saw it grow, if anything. We haven't grown it because we're trying to publish here and we're looking only for premium work now. We can make those choices, but a lot of the game execs have played flight control, because most people, have some awareness of it. Someone in the studio has brought their attention to it, and it's made it really easy for me to do biz dev.
I have a question. Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously your success has been on the iPhone. Do you consider iPhone to be the only viable direct download platform that is out there at the moment?
Oh no, I mean, I'd say Xbox Live is far more viable for those that can win at it than iPhone at this stage. But it's much harder to win at. You've got to go through a lot of approval processes. The advantage of iPhone, we always know we're going to publish. And we're looking at other platforms. We're converting flight control to Nintendo DSi, for example. DSi, we're just trying that out. So yeah, I don't see it. It's just where we are, and it's very easy for us. I think it's a pretty cool platform. And I think it'll grow too.
Well, there's a lot of people obviously in the current environment that are looking at starting companies, small companies, to make iPhone titles. I guess you've given a bit of general advice in your presentation. Is there anything more specific that you could say, I guess, to those groups of 1 or 2 people that are looking to get in this space? It sounds like if they're graduating from a course, they don't just need to find a programmer or an artist, they need to go to the marketing department of the school perhaps and find someone to participate in the process right from the start. Yeah, well, I've got probably 2 different sets of advice. One for students starting up. Really, if you just come out of uni, if you're going to do a startup, you're going to do all the learning on your own time. Unfortunately, if there's not a lot of jobs out there, then I would implore you to do it, but do it with an eye to showing off some skills. If you're very experienced already and you're ready to make that leap into a serious company, I would think try and think about it somewhat seriously. I don't have a go at making a flight control for sure, because I mean, how much have you got to lose? But I think there's opportunity in the medium size. If you can get above, there's going to be this layer
down the bottom there that's every man and his dog who's been made redundant, or all the students who haven't got jobs who will try and make games in their garage by themselves, or at best with one other person. So if you can just get yourself above that, invest a little bit more, a little bit longer, bring in a few more people, maybe get some funding behind you. You just get above that layer of competition. That might be an opportunity space. You've got to think about. We were thinking about where we sit pretty carefully, and we're thinking, well, we've got these really small indies on one side and the big publishers on the other side. So try and find a space that you can fit as high up the chain as possible. Is my advice to the experienced guys.
Hi. iPhone piracy has been a bit of a concern for iPhone developers. Are there any stats you can share about that, and what sort of things you can do to get around that problem?
Obviously, I can share that it seems to be declining. It seems to have been so since it's so competitive and since you can drop your price. The top grossing category has been good. It means that big publishers now can put out their games at $10. If they keep putting out big games at $10 and everyone wants to buy them, then the problem may correct itself somewhat because they're going to set a benchmark. So it's a little better at least having that top grossing category. I think the next thing in iPhone is looking at in-app purchases and how you can make the most of that. There'll be a lot for small developers who have no brand, and perhaps their product doesn't have a really strong marketing or the right appeal, but it's a great game that you can try for the freemium market. You've now got like three sort of shelves to play with, like shelf spaces. If you like a retail store, you've got top paid, top free, and top grossing. So if you do yourself a freemium product, you can try and get into the top free charts, and you might get into top grossing as well if you gross a lot of in-app payments. I think the top paid charts, so I don't know what the future, I don't know if there's anything we could do about it. I think maybe it's something Apple can do.
What about top rated?
Sorry, I'm just asking, what about top rated category? There's no quality kind of rating there for people to find good games.
Well, yeah. Ratings are pretty funny when they're user ratings like that. Maybe if there was a Metacritic style rating system for iPhone, I'd like to see that. I wouldn't. If you look at the free charts, you'll see everything rated at 3 stars or so. The best games get 3.5 stars. Best games on the page charts get 4.5, 5 stars. Games start off at 5 stars and then decline slowly down towards 4 or 3. It's consumer ratings are pretty fickle the way they're done. You can see this is just about perceived value, how much they've invested in it. If they bought it for a lot of money, it'll be a high rating. If they didn't pay anything, it's likely they didn't even want the game, so they rate it down. There's new, consumers love new, anything you can, so it always gets a high rating, and then it starts to, as it widens, as the audience widens, you tend to get more people that didn't really want the game so much. So they're pretty, but I don't know if you can sort by rating yet or not, but yeah, I don't know if I want it or not. But we've got good rated games, so I hope so.
You've managed to add a lot of content and features to Flight Control over the course of the last year. If you had to release that game again today, where's the bar that you would have to release with in terms of content and feature set to replicate that same amount of success?
Oh yeah, it would have to be more like where it is now with the number of levels and the like. And the unfortunate thing, it's unfortunate when consumers see something that they think they recognise, then they expect all the features that they've seen in a product that they think is similar. So if we release Flight Control again now, we'd have to beat all the other rip-off line drawing games, basically, in content levels. So yeah, the bar would be higher. If we released another game like